Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Waller's Wallet, and in the search for the best cards used for daily spend, whether it be for non-bonus spend, or maybe you're just someone looking for a single card that could provide you value, the world of Hyatt credit card and the Hilton Surpass card might be some overlooked credit cards. But in this video, I'm going to tell you why these cards could actually be solid daily driver options for you. Now, if you want a simple way to help out the channel, consider hitting that thumbs up button. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn that bell notification on as well so you don't miss out on future videos. Now, as I have said many times, the lowest return you should be receiving is a 2% return, since you can get that back with the 2% cash back card, and there are plenty of those type of cards out there. In both the World of Hyatt card and the Hilton Surpass card can actually give you more than a 2% return for your spend, and here's why. Now let's start off with the World of Hyatt credit card. Now there is no arguing that Hyatt points are the most valuable hotel point currencies around right now. They just tend to offer a better return in terms of cent per point value compared to other hotel points by a lot. And I value Hyatt points at around 2 cents per point, making them very valuable points to me. Now the biggest knock for Hyatt is the fact that their footprint is quite a bit smaller than that of other chains like Marriott, Hilton, and even IHG for example. And the World of Hyatt credit card gives customers a yearly certificate each year you hold the card and pay the annual fee. And you can use the certificate at a category 1 through 4 property. Then you also have the opportunity to earn a second certificate after spending $15,000 in a card member year. And that $15,000 spend can be seen as too much money to spend on this card, or maybe the return isn't so good so it's not worth using. But as with everything else in this game, it just comes down to the math. Because it would be a sin in this game to use a card that doesn't reward you enough, since you should be earning no less than 2% back. Now for calculation's sake, we're going to say that you were spending that $15,000 on non-bonus spend, but this will vary depending on how you actually were to spend on these cards. But if you were to spend $15,000 on your World of Hyatt credit card, you would earn yourself 15,000 Hyatt points, which would be worth right around $300 based on my value of Hyatt points at 2 cents per point, which would be enough points for a night at a category 4 property if you wanted to stay at one. Which if you use a 2% cash back card, that would be a $300 return as well. But now let's say you wanted to use the Blue Business Plus that earned 2 membership reward points per dollar on every dollar you spent, and since I value membership reward points at 1.5 cents per point, this would give you a value of about $450, which is more, right? Well, it actually is going to depend. Because in addition to those 15,000 Hyatt points you would earn, remember, you also get that certificate to use at a category 1 through 4 property, and the value is going to depend on how you redeem that certificate to account for the value you would receive overall. For example, if you were to redeem that certificate at the Eliza Jane property in New Orleans, which is a category 4 property here on this date in May, it would cost you about $285 after accounting for taxes, which would look to give you a return about 1.9% back on that certificate based on that $15,000 spend, which isn't terrible, but it's also not lights out. But remember, you also earned about $300 in points as well on the spend. And when you account for this, it gives you a total return of about $585 for that $15,000 spend, which is actually closer to a 4% return for your spend, which could very well outdo your current non-bonus card. Plus, if you were to use this certificate with your other certificate and the points you earn from your spend, you could have yourself a 3-night stay here at this property. And if you decided to book a lower category property, the points you earn from your spend could actually offer you more nights, just depends on how you redeem them. But either way, this would be a solid option. Then taking a look at the Hilton Surpass card. Now the Hilton Surpass card is similar to that of the World of Hyatt card in that it offers a yearly certificate after spending $15,000 on this card. But the spending would need to be done in a calendar year and not a card member year. And you also don't get a certificate for just having the card, you only get one when you meet that spending requirement. But I do believe the Hilton Surpass offers a great value to people, and it's often overlooked for the more overpowered Hilton Aspire credit card. But I do think the Surpass offers the best mid-level hotel status in Hilton Gold. You also get 10 Priority Pass lounge passes, which would be good for families or for people who only travel a couple times a year. And this card would also be a great card to use for your daily spending, because for on all non-bonus spend, you earn triple Hilton points. Now, I value Hilton points right around 0.6 cents per point, so this would give you a return of about 1.8%, which does fall below that 2% minimum you should be earning. But in this case, it's going to be okay. Because if you hit that $15,000 spend requirement to get that certificate, you'd also earn 45,000 Hilton points, which I would value at right around 270 bucks, which would be about $30 less than if you put that spend on a 2% cash back card. But you would get a certificate to use at any Hilton property for a standard room worldwide. Now, this can't be used on a premium room, and you can actually see this designation when you are searching for reward stays at Hilton, which I do find very helpful. But there's not a limit on the category or a point limit on these stays, which can be very valuable. But the limit on the certificate is that it needs to be used for a weekend stay, which is from Friday to Sunday. Which this can be limiting, but if you are traveling, there's a chance you're staying over a weekend day anyways. For example, this room at the Conrad London St. James in London would be 80,000 points for a standard room, or the cash price for this evening would be about 325 bucks. So just for the certificate value on that $15,000 spend, the redemption value would be right around 2.2%, which isn't terrible. But the total value you would receive, including the point values, would actually be closer to 4%. And getting 4% back on your non-bonus spend, or in general, is pretty good. Now, working towards these certificates can be valuable, but they do have a few trade-offs. First, you're locking yourself into one reward system, so if there are any devaluations or changes to the program, this could reduce the value you'd receive from these points or the certificate, and that's always part of the gamble. And there are restrictions either by categories or even the days you can redeem them. And the other part that's important for your calculations is the overall value you're going to receive from this will shift depending on the redemption of that certificate. Because the value you receive from the points is going to stay pretty much the same unless there's some sort of devaluation from the program. But when it comes to the certificate, the more expensive the hotel you stay at, the higher the overall return will be. And on the flip side, if you stay at a cheaper property, the lower the overall return would be. And I really feel like I should mention here that you should stay at the property you want to stay at rather than making the sole decision on where you stay based on the value and the price of the room. And with these certificates, after spending that $15,000 to earn these certificates, it can really make these cards great options for your non-bonus spend or even a decent daily driver. Now for the Hyatt option, I think this would be best if you're someone who prefers to stay at mid-level properties since it does top out at a category 4. But for Hilton, you can stay anywhere in the world giving you potentially more value, but it would need to be on a weekend day, which may not be for everyone. And these can just lead to a lot of options, so it really just comes down to the type of travel you are and the properties you prefer to stay at. But if you're someone who prefers to stay at these hotels and want a simple way to earn rewards and get some extra value that could easily exceed 2% return, then I think these cards could actually be pretty useful for you. So tell me, have you thought about using these cards to earn those certificates? Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in this video. If you want to help support the channel, take a look at the links down in the description below. And if you know somebody that could benefit from this video, feel free to share it with them. And until next time, safe travels and take care.